Hello, good morning, class. Our topic for today is found in chapter 5 of our book, Speak and Write for a Purpose, titled Evaluating Messages and Images. So, critical evaluation, one of the levels of comprehension advanced by Benjamin Bloom, requires a thorough analysis and critical look at information, messages, or even images that we get from or use for reading materials, such as even lectures and presentations. So, for one to obtain or use accurate information, so this is where critical evaluation is of much importance, and this requires a higher order thinking skills. So evaluating messages. So since media messages are developed, they could be altered or disintegrated. So likely many fake news and altered media materials misled people into accepting and believing them. So thus media messages and images should be evaluated to ensure their validity, reliability, and even their appropriateness. So content and visual analysis could be applied to messages and images using a checklist as follows. So this checklist was taken from evaluating media messages through thoughtfullearning.com. So here's the criteria. Number one, we have to check the sender by asking the following questions. Who created the message? Was it by a news organization, a public citizen, or an advertiser? Is the person an expert, or is he an influential person? Does he know much about the topic? Okay. Then the message. What questions do we ask to evaluate the message? So for example, we have, what does the message say? So you talk about the subject, the main point, and the support. You analyze those things. Is the information fair and logical? Or is it just emotionally laden, for example? Next, what points of view are shared in the message? Which ones are left out? So, and what images or sounds catch my attention? Now, when you talk about the medium, we have to consider these two questions. Number one is, what type of media is used to deliver the message? Is it just a radio, an internet, or the television, or the newspaper? Then what are the strengths and weaknesses of the media format? For example, when you say print media, so it's just limited to a picture, which is different from the YouTube or videos. I remember the commercial of Pepsi. Remember Uncle Drew? It was very effective because when you post a commercial on a television for just a few seconds, it will really cost you a lot. But with YouTube videos, you can have as much as, it was almost like a movie. So I think it was a more than a 5-minute video. And how much would that cost you if you would post that as a TV commercial? See? And the thing is, you can even earn from it. Instead of paying the YouTube for the video, you are the ones who will get money from YouTube because of the number of views or likes and the comments you get. And it was really effective in promoting Pepsi. Okay, so how might people different from me interpret this message? Would some people be oh wait, where am I? Okay, we are now on the receiver. Okay, so who will receive the message? Who is the target of the message? Is it for the youth? Is it for adults? Is it for women? Or is it for influential people, or the poor, or the rich? So you have to consider those things. Next, how might people different from me interpret this message? Like if I am having fun watching this, Some people find it offensive. How about the sexist? How about the feminists? How about the LGBT community or the religious people? Okay, next, you have to consider as well the context. What is the purpose of the message? Is it to sell something? Is it to convince people to vote for somebody? Next, who controls the transmission of the message? So is it the network alone or some influential people? Okay, so we have examples here which I will leave for you to practice. Example, here we have a commercial from Breeze as a picture, so you can ask these key concepts. The message is constructed effectively. So guide questions: what is the message of the text? Or the text conveys that Breeze is the best detergent powder to remove stains from clothes. They claim that no matter how thick the stain is, it is easily removed through the use of Breeze, since it claims that it has a power of 10 hands. How effectively does it represent reality? According to the advertisement, it is effective for removing stains from mud, orange juice, mango juice, strawberry cake, or even motor oil. However, it can't be said that it is truly effective since I haven't used it. Okay, so, and since the information came only from their own company, not from outside source. That is why if you have some claims and it can be backed up by some independent body, like for example Safeguard, it's promoted by PAMED, Philippine Association of Medical and Experts, for example. So that becomes a bit credible. Or with Colgate, promoted by what do you call this? Promoted by PDA, Philippine Dental Association. Okay, so if that's the case, then your claim becomes a bit credible. Now, how is the message constructed? The message was constructed based on the concept of the product, the ingredients used, and how effective they were. Okay, the media embedded values and points of view. So the question here is, what lifestyles? By the way, the ones in bold letters are the key concepts. You have to remember that. That question here are the guide questions for media text analysis, and there we have the assessment. So what lifestyles, values, and points of views are represented in the text? The advertisement was presented creatively by highlighting the value of kindness, respect, and being helpful. So you cannot just post some TV commercials nowadays. You have to make sure that they also promote certain values, particularly Filipino values. Okay, next. Who or what was missing? So the ad failed to state the level of comfort and the kind of service that the product can offer for the customers. Number 3, the messages are unambiguous and clear. So what message do you perceive from the text? So from this TV commercial, I perceive that in advertising, we can show the positive values of the Filipino and encourage viewers to view the product. Next question, how might others understand it differently? So the viewers might take seriously the statement that if the product is not effective after one wash, the company will give back their money, which is seldom the case. The media have commercial, ideological, or political interests. So what is the purpose of the text? The purpose of the advertisement is to encourage the audience to buy and use the product. So that's the motive. Next, who is the target audience of the text? The target of this advertisement are customers, especially parents and individuals who wash their clothes, and who might be disadvantaged. Okay, persons who have sensitive skin, for example, since the ads did not mention that it is not harmful for those who have sensitive skin. So, and who created the text and why? Okay, Okay, so the advertisement was created by the company as a television commercial. Last question here, last concept. Media messages are constructed using creative language having its own rules. So the first question, what techniques are used and why? So the company used a concrete tagline that can catch the attention of the readers. The positive character traits of the Filipino were highlighted and showcased. For example, with video, they have this tagline, we find ways. And how effective are the techniques in supporting the messages or the themes of the text? So the techniques used were effective because the tagline, lakas ng 10 kamay. They leave a mark to the viewers, and somehow that promotes customer recall. If ever I'm in the grocery store and I have options to choose among different detergent powders, so lakas ng 10 kamay, okay, I'll get these. So that's the purpose of TV commercials. So what are other ways of presenting the message? Okay, so aside from TV commercials, the product can also be advertised in magazines, newspapers, and radio to reach more customers. So this is just a TV commercial. Now, let's move on to the next one. Let's share the screen. Wait. Okay, now let's move back to our SIM. We are now on ULOC. Just the big picture and focus. Apply the concepts of evaluating images and messages by creating a multimodal text. So in this section, we'll have to remember these definitions in case you will encounter difficulty in understanding some concepts. So number one, we have multimodality. So it is the interweaving of two or more modes in using text, images, audio, and other visual, oral, or spatial resources. So number two, a semiotic system assigns the content of signs, which we call semiotics, and their meanings in a system of structure. So for essential knowledge, let's remember these terms. Okay, so evaluating messages and or images. So this requires, as I have explained, this requires critical evaluation through analysis and critical look at information, messages, and images. Then evaluating messages. So there could be, as I have said before, they could be much laden in fake news and altered media materials. Could mislead people into accepting and believing them. That's why we have to evaluate them using these types of checklists that we have discussed. Okay, when we say multimodal text, a text may be multimodal if there is a combination of two or more semiotic systems. So the following are the 5 semiotic systems. Number one, we have linguistic. So this includes aspects such as vocabulary, generic structure of both oral and written language. Number two, the visual. This includes aspects such as the colors used, the vectors, and still and moving images. Then number three, we have the audio, which includes aspects such as the volume, the pitch, the rhythm of music, and the sound effects. Then we have gestural, includes aspects such as the movements, the speed, the stillness in facial expression, and in body movements. And number five, spatial, includes aspects such as the proximity or the distance between each other, then the direction, the position of layout, and organization of objects in space. Okay, so first is we have a multimodal text in infographics. So when you say infographic, these are this is a collection of pictures, charts, and graphs that understand the topic's overview. It is used because the human brain recognizes visual patterns faster than just reading plain texts. This is because our brains scan text sequentially. That means one word at a time, while we can picture different places simultaneously. So for example here, as an infographic, so we have the cost of a college education in the Philippines. So instead of just reading all of this as a plain text in a paragraph, it would be understood better if we see it as something like this. Just make it bigger. For example, the cost of college education in the Philippines. So we have, number one, we have uniform clothing allowance, which would amount up to 700 per set or 3,500 pesos for 5 pairs used in a week. We have books, which amount to 5,000 upwards per semester. So most science medical courses have even higher rates for school books. Then we have school supplies, 2,500 more, transportation, food, with corresponding pictures that go with the text. So in this way, using this infographic would be easier to digest mentally. Okay, so number 2, we have multimodal text in advertisements. So we have here, what do you see? Okay, so advertisements, just like infographics, are multimodal text representing visuals and linguistic semiotic systems. So ads are the means of many companies to market and promote their products, services, and even campaigns or platforms. So with multimodal, because it involves the use of pictures and some text. So is your precious a star? Stuff like that. So somehow this becomes a very effective ad, complete with a lot of information like the phone numbers, the what is it about, the price, and other stuff, the address of the office. I think. No, they don't have. No, just the phone number will do, and the website. It's online. Next, we have the multimodal text in editorial cartoon. So like infographics and advertisements, editorial cartoons are also multimodal in nature. So as seen in the example below, editorial cartoons achieve multimodality by making use of the available semiotic systems in images and the words in a single text. So while most editorial cartoons talk about politics, like this is the first thing I would be looking for in a newspaper, the cartoon part. Okay, since they are used newspapers and other reading materials, editorial cartoons cover topics that are currently relevant in society, and readers take different interpretations of the multimodal text presented in the editorial cartoons. Look at this, for example. Without much explanation, you can simply infer that yesterday we just used notebooks, pencils, paper, crayons, ruler, eraser, and other stuff. Today, just to start, we have application, cell phone, laptop, flash drives, calculators, printer scanners, high-tech backpack, and other stuff. You don't need to be writing fast. You just have to type fast nowadays. Okay, multimodal text in fundraising, for example. This is an example of a poster for a cause. So just like ads, infographics, and editorial cartoons, posters also employ multimodality. There are different types of posters. There are promotional posters for films, books, exhibitions, and events. There are also some posters for campaigns, like political campaigns, or for awareness-raising posters. So this is an example for a dinner for a cause. Some examples of awareness posters, like the one about smoking, the effects of smoking that you can see on the streets in Davao City. So somehow to discourage you from smoking. So this one is a dinner for a cause, which includes the purpose of the event, the date, the time, the place, and how much would it cost you, and other contact information. So this involves designing a layout, deciding how big the particular text will be, or what kind of font will you be using, or what kind of picture will go uh, with the text. So this is a very good poster. Okay, so you can also refer to this. So you can also use our book. This is our book in this case. Mhm. Okay, so I hope to study these lessons in your book as well, and on your sim or review. Okay, so watch out for instructions on what to do with this lesson on the LMS. That's all for today, and God bless.